Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. Now, this is part 2 of Ghosts of Denver Broncos Coaching, past, present, and we're going to be talking about future. I want to preface this by saying that, again, I don't believe that anything is going to be working in Denver until the ownership situation is taken care of, which translates to the GM situation of John Elway and Ellis. I think it's Joe Ellis. And who knows if there is accountability on Elway's part, whether he would quit, because he obviously isn't going to fire himself, and if there's a chance that he could get fired, he may just walk away. I think that's an interesting topic for another time. But basically, when you listen to sports talk radio, we're always pigeonholed into thinking certain things, or the mainstream, that there can't be any other thing, that this is the only thing it can be. So again, can we please look outside the box a little bit? And that's what I plan to do. But I'm going to go over what the mainstream is talking about as far as Vance Joseph's replacement. I just want to say on record, I believe in going outside the box. And I would be looking at New Orleans offensive coordinator who's been, playing the game for a long time, well established. He could bring in a system. He knows, people, and could bring coordinators in. Same with Brian Shanahan, I believe, or Schottenheimer, excuse me, Brian Schottenheimer. He's been around the block. He's done a lot of work with Seattle. During the bad times, he's done a lot with a little. I believe that the player personnel around Russell Wilson isn't that great, but I also believe the Broncos probably could get more out of that Russell Wilson type system than Drew Brees type system, which is New Orleans. Like I mentioned, but I still would take a look at New Orleans offensive coordinator, just because what he could eventually bring to the Broncos. So here are the list of candidates, which I'm not really in agreement with, that they want to pigeonhole the Denver Broncos with. Matt LaFleur of the Tennessee Titans. And not saying that any of these guys wouldn't be bad in certain situations. I'm not saying these people are bad just because they're bad. I'm saying that where the Denver Broncos right now are a team that has a long way to go, and I don't think that some of these offensive coordinators, some of these coaches are in a position to take on a team that needs a lot of work. And I think that Bronco fans really don't know how close they are to becoming a decent team, but how far they are also. It's a weird, I think in Denver, it's a weird situation. And again, everything goes back to ownership, GM, non-accountability. That's going to be a problem until that gets fixed. So Matt LaFleur, I don't think, of the Tennessee Titans has done enough with Tennessee to say that he's going to come in and do anything with Denver. Of course, obviously, if they do come in and do something, that'd be great. There's no guarantee, never say never to anything, but I think we could do better than some of these people. Quarterbacks coach of the Los Angeles Rams. I want to get into this Los Angeles Rams thing and Kansas City. Right now, you have great player personnel on the Rams, and you have great player personnel on Kansas City. You do not have that right now in Denver. So to ask coaches to go from working on and dealing with a Ferrari, and then, going to something more like a Ford Escort and making it Ferrari-like, I think is a monumental task for somebody that, these people do look good because they have great player personnel around them. But to ask them to, mimic that in 4 years in Denver may be a tough road to hoe. Now you got, Mike Shanahan. That's, again, the most idiotic, I keep repeating it, do we really want the ego to land? And then get into it with the other ego, which is John Elway. And if more teams were pining for Shanahan, maybe it would be more believable, but there's reasons teams are passing on Mike Shanahan. Okay, Chuck with the Indianapolis Colts get his Pagano. I don't think that the Colts have done enough. The Colts haven't done enough. I don't believe anything going on with the Colts other than their offensive coordinator. Would be nice to see him in a couple of years come out. Also, they do have probably the top offensive line coach, and that's something the Broncos really could use. But I don't think that Indianapolis is going to let him go if they can. But the defensive coordinator, no. I mean, I haven't seen anything impressive from defensively. From maybe I'm wrong. You give me a Mike McCarthy, of course. You know, another has been. Yeah, I think that's. I think it's another has-been that the Broncos don't need. I'm sorry, I'm going through different things. I think David Tubb of the Kansas City Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken, is that yes. And again, here's one guy. The problem again with you're talking about. These coaches at Kansas City look good because they have a bunch of really good player personnel around them. This guy could be interesting. Steve Taub. I don't know if this guy was with the special teams. I'm not sure again where he comes in. I'm just trying to gloss over these a little bit for speed and time. We talked about Mike McCarthy. The former head coach. Oh yeah, they have the former head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Kind of like Bill Belichick. Wasn't that successful with the Cleveland Browns, but became successful elsewhere. Yes, we go back to Chuck Pagano. Yes, I'm sorry, I was thinking of a defensive coach, Chuck, good old Chuck. So yes, could be a fit. Again, we may be looking at a bridge coach until ownership comes in anyway. Mike McDaniel, the running game of San Francisco 49ers. I don't see anything really coming out of San Francisco that's I would, say is qualified. The defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Do the Broncos need another defensive coordinator as head coach? Yeah, I don't know about that either. I think that's kind of throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. So, I'm sorry, but this computer I'm looking off of is just Bieniemy. I don't think, and this is nothing personal on Bieniemy, but I think if you get Bieniemy, you basically get Vance Joseph all over again. I think the only reason he would leave Kansas City, I can't imagine him leaving Kansas City just to be John Elway's yes man. So I don't even see that really happening. But I really. Maybe if Bieniemy was with the Chiefs as an offensive coordinator for, a couple more years at least, maybe for the right team, if the team was ready to take the next step, that may be a good fit. But I think right now that just doesn't, I just don't think he has the experience. Head coach of Washington Huskies, that's always a crapshoot with college coaches, but, may work out. Maybe that's something you want, but then again, I guess they would have to, again, are you going to be Elway's yes man? Defensive DB's coach from the Cowboys, there's not enough there. Defensive coordinator of the New York Giants, definitely not enough there to make me want that guy. Lincoln Riley of the Oklahoma Sooners. It'd just be interesting to get it'd be very interesting to bring in a college coach. And I wouldn't actually be against that so much either, but I guess a college coach may be more apt to be a yes man for Elway. But it'd be pretty tough to leave a good college situation, too. So that may be a tough road to hoe. And, John Harbaugh, he's not going to come to the Denver Broncos. You can definitely count him out. He would definitely go to Green Bay and work with Aaron Rodgers before he'd come and deal with the disaster that's in Denver. Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. I'd personally rather have the offensive coordinator of the New Orleans Saints, not the defensive coordinator. I think the offensive coordinator would be a much more interesting a grab, just because the guy's got, a lot of experience in the NFL. He's seen the ups and downs with the Saints. He's been through it all. Personally, he'd be my number one candidate. I've already said that. Maybe I think, too, that should be indexed in is, but the Broncos would have to actually come and pursue that. So, sorry I couldn't have made this a little bit more clear, but the computer I'm on just keeps stalling as I try to scroll through it and get this information. It's just a disaster. So, obviously, this is going to be talked about more and more. But again, let's not get pigeonholed into thinking, one guy is the answer or over another guy, or because sports talk radio is going to keep promoting one guy over and over, aka Mike Shanahan, that there isn't better choices out there. And again, everything hinges, in my opinion, on ownership. Whether or not the Broncos are going to be held accountable at the GM level. And are we going to just keep getting the ghosts of coaching past until that's taken care of? And again, are you going to get an owner like Snyder or like Jerry Jones, which is even going to make things even worse. So that's going to be also very interesting. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more with the Bolin family, who would take over that, how that would translate. So anyway, I want to thank the one subscriber I have, but I don't even give a crap whether or not you subscribe, to be honest with you. I'd rather have people just coming to the forum and talking and being free to talk. You can say I'm an idiot or whatever. It's fine. You're allowed to talk and express yourself how you really feel. No censorship. Just let's talk about this.